You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to another episode of E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt. Thanks so much for joining me today. There are so many podcast choices out there in the world in marketing and direct-to-consumer, and I just massively appreciate that you're taking time and listening to today's episode. I have a really cool guest. His name is Justin Silver. He's actually the co-founder of a brand. They're on Shopify, Aavrani. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this business. I did a little bit of research kind of before recording. They really are a very innovative beauty brand. The beauty business, as we all know, is a massive multi-billion dollar, close to $1 trillion probably worldwide, but certainly billions of dollars in North America. And really what they do is they combine a lot of kind of, I would call it like modern kind of clinical science along with this traditional Ayurvedic, they call it, which is ingredients that create kind of a clean, clinically proven formulas, really for skin and hair care, with a special focus on, they do more scalp health and overall kind of hair wellness. What's interesting about this is this whole process really originated in India over 5,000 years ago, and it really focuses on balancing the mind, the body, and the spirit, really to promote overall health and to prevent illness. And that's really what's interesting about this particular business. It's herbal remedies, it's dietary changes, lifestyle practices. It's an overall mindset really to treat health issues and to maintain wellness. So that's one thing about the Aavrani brand. Now, Justin, being the co-founder, his original kind of roots and history is being an early stage kind of consumer investor. He's partnered and been an entrepreneur with a lot of businesses. He's had a lot of experience kind of investing in beauty and food and beverage also along the way. He was even an investor in a very notable skincare brand that was acquired by Unilever, I believe in 2019. Probably hear more about that after, but close to $500 million was kind of the word on the street for this kind of deal. And he currently serves as entrepreneur in residence at Venture Lab. He provides workshops and office hours and mentoring really to help support the early stage community, the student community, and some alumni ventures. He's also a venture advisor to students at Yale. He's been a guest lecturer on entrepreneurship at Wharton and Yale and NYU Stern. He has an MBA with honors. It's just lots of accolades. He is truly an operator, both from the business side, from the finance side, but then now making this pivot now into the entrepreneur side. So using both sides of his brain. So it's pretty exciting to have him on here. I'm really, really excited. I think for those listening, the reason why you may want to listen in today is maybe you're looking to kind of refine your business strategy, or you're looking for some inspiration for your next venture. I think that's what today's episode is all about, is just understanding insights about what others are doing and how you might be able to apply that towards your business. So, hi, Justin. Welcome to E-commerce Fastlane.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
I know it's a little bit of a long-winded kind of intro, and I usually let my guests kind of tell more of their story. But can you tell us a little bit of lay of the land about, like, why did you put your initial flag in the sand in finance and starting with just a Bachelor of Science and then getting into an MBA and then getting to finance? Can you just kind of share that initial part of your career and then how it naturally kind of pivoted its way into entrepreneurship and then wanting to actually be a co-founder of a brand?
Yeah, of course. I can rewind you all the way back to high school.
Okay.
But I was involved in a club called DECA. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but they're pretty prolific across the US. It's a marketing club. It was a business club, and I just naturally took to it. My dad was an entrepreneur, building companies, building a brand, building a business was always kind of in my lifeblood. And so for me, I got to experience that in high school. I wanted to go to a business undergrad, went to NYU Stern. And when I quickly got there, the mentality was the smartest and the best people go into investment banking, period. Hard stop. And so I wanted to be the smartest. I wanted to be the best. And so that's exactly where I set my sights. Ended up at the mergers and acquisitions group in Credit Suisse. but quickly realized that was a pit stop for most people. So did a few deals, had some really great moments where I kind of started to fall in love with consumer. Got to work with Walmart on a couple of deals. And again, with Kraft, it was just, these big brands in a really interesting way. As just a 22, 23-year-old. Went into private equity and was initially in private equity focusing on financial services, realized very quickly I loved consumer and that's where I wanted to be for my career. So transitioned to this early stage consumer investing. Just like you said, food, beverage, and beauty, it was my bread and butter. I loved this type of investing and meeting these founders. But what I realized is after a while, it got pretty repetitive. We would get a deal. We would analyze the deal. We would determine if we wanted to do it, and then we would do it or we wouldn't. And then we would just do that same exact process every single day. And so after doing that dozens of times, I kind of said, I've looked at thousands of companies. We've done a bunch of deals. But what really gets me going, what's the most interesting part of my job is talking with these entrepreneurs. It's meeting them, it's hearing their stories, and it's hearing about their entrepreneurial journey. And that's the kind of journey that I wanted to go on myself.
Yeah, this is amazing. Kudos to that. It's a really exciting journey. I think I get the same feeling too when I have the opportunity, like even in a short little window, like, today's conversation, having a 30-minute chat about and just kind of summarizing a 20-year career about like what's been most impactful for you and what sort of things have you done leading up to where you are today. I think it's all part of this giving. And that's kind of why you're involved maybe with Cart Stars, that online community of people in the C-suite in D2C, because it really is about like honest sharing and having a community of people together. And I think that's what I find about this industry a lot is that people are willing to and open to share what it is that they're learning. And I think talking to these entrepreneurs and that's part of what my job was originally at Shopify, was really helping businesses to grow and scale and building relationships and learning what's working today. And then kind of paying that forward to the next students that are looking to grow their businesses and launch businesses. So it's nice that you've kind of gone through a lot of that journey. It's really cool. So I want to talk a little bit about the brand that you're involved with right now, because it seems that, like, I'd argue, and I think you would agree, that it is a massively competitive industry. And I think there's a lot of noise out there. And I think there's some major players that rise to the top. They may have like premier locations kind of in retail. They may be in Sephora on end caps and really well promoted or celebrity endorsed. And I think there's a certain kind of brands going down that journey. But then I think there's also other brands that are taking a little bit more of a holistic approach, and they're kind of understanding that maybe it's about relationships and quality and building the ingredients that resonate with the buyers today. So I just would like to understand from your perspective, what is very unique about your business and the kind of the science behind it and the ingredients, and like, is that setting you apart competitively kind of in this beauty market?
Yeah, of course. I mean, let's talk brand first.
Okay.
And just our unique brand story, my co-founder Rushi and her ability to build a community and articulate her vision, that is so differentiated. If you look at the vast majority of brands out there, there's just big business behind it, whether it be the brands that are acquired by L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Shiseido, Unilever, and they're all amazing brands, but they are driven by business. We are driven by a founder, and my co-founder Rushi is helping to drive this brand in such a powerful way, serving as the face of the brand, the CEO, that founder-led brand by someone who's so competent, so passionate. That is really, really special. And you do not get that every day. So I think first, you have the brand itself and our founder-led nature,
Okay.
and then we can get to the products. We saw a few years ago that there was going to be an opportunity in hair. And just like you might see with Korean skincare, kind of Korean culture to skin, there's that same relevance of Indian culture to hair.
Right.
India is the number one exporter of hair globally. Indian hair known for its healthy thickness and its beauty.
Right.
And so we read those tea leaves a few years ago and started to work on hair care. We brought in a chemist, really a genius chemist who created the first silicone-free hair care brand in the United States. She helped to formulate our products, incorporating some of these all-natural Ayurvedic ingredients like turmeric to reduce inflammation and others with modern, powerful science. And so our hero product is our hair density boosting treatment. And this is going to increase your hair density. So if hair is shedding, if you look at the bottom of the shower and you see your hair, kind of pooling in there, this is a product you can use, and it's just better. It's less expensive than other products on the market. And we see a huge opportunity to be the number one product in hair growth in the market, which, is easily a multi-billion-dollar category through men and women. And, at least $1 billion category in women alone. So very, very passionate about the products and really differentiated in what we're bringing to the table.
So interesting. How do you drive traffic to the website? 'Cause I just find I think it seems to be, I know you said it's a community-led, founder-led, who's kind of really has, a passion around this industry. And I think that's the unique value position. But I'm also trying to think from a organic traffic perspective and awareness, the fact that it's even available. We'll get into the Amazon story in a few minutes, but I'm curious if there's any takeaways and things that you've learned about, where do we where's my community number one? Where are they? Are they on Instagram? Are they on TikTok? What's our target demographic? And number two is what is the content strategy around making people aware that this product even exists, and then the success that people are having with it? I'm just Google's a really big engine. I'm trying to figure out how you get into organic search for awareness campaigns.
Yeah, I think, Google is such a powerful partner, certainly for our own keywords like Aavrani or Ayurvedic beauty.
Right.
But on top of that, people searching for hair care solutions, there's a big opportunity there for us to show up in an organic way, not necessarily trying to compete with, VC funded companies that have raised hundreds of millions who buy out, hair growth, but to come up organically. In terms of where that community is, we are on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and they are there. But what's really changed over time is what used to be the ideal person, the beauty influencer, that has shifted.
Right.
While a beauty influencer is great, the difficulty with that person is they're trying hundreds of products a year. And so to stick out for a beauty influencer, it is nearly impossible. Where the real opportunity is, and where we've seen real success, is to partner with people who really identify with a core part of our consumer group who aren't used to putting content out about beauty. Maybe it's something they've done a get ready with me once or twice, but they are not a beauty influencer. We've seen this work especially well with new moms. New moms are talking about so many things with their children, whether it be the food that they're giving them, the rest that they're trying to take, their relationships with their partners. There's so many elements to being a new mom, but beauty is just one small element. So when we share, hey, you have shedding postpartum, and our product is helping to minimize that, and that is getting out to moms all across the United States and Canada, that is a much more powerful message than here's my 40-second product I'm trying this month. And that's something that happens with beauty influencers from time to time.
I noticed too, you have a blog, which, a lot of D2C brands have, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of tell your story and to kind of share where the business is. And sometimes it's not always a sales pitch. A lot of times it's really talking about how you align yourself in the community that you play in. And one of the things I noticed too is you have a program where you're giving back to children in India. And do you want to talk about this Shanti Bhavan Children's Project a bit, and then how that's aligning the Aavrani business to this Shanti Bhavan? So just curious on the alignment between the businesses of the business and this particular children's project.
Yeah, I mean, rewinding back to the finance time, that was one of the things I always felt was missing. I liked the work. I loved meeting the companies. I loved the entrepreneurs, but what impact was I really making in the world was a big question mark for me that I would think about pretty often. And so when I met Rushi in business school, we came up with this idea and we started to work immediately. We knew that there had to be a component of this that was helping to change the world,
Right.
not just in our products and the value that we could add to people's lives, but in, people that really need help. And so I had worked with the Shanti Bhavan School for years, I had learned about them back in kind of 2013, 2014. And they are really breaking the cycle of poverty in India. Unlike in the US, where when you pass away, your debts are essentially gone, there is generational debt in India. And so there are many people who are born into essentially a debt bondage, and they're forced to work for pennies per day, paying off this debt that would take a lifetime. And what the Shanti Bhavan School does is it takes these children, it brings them into an American style classroom where they're learning how to critically think. They're learning that people care about them, that their voice has value. They go out and they can get a job, and in 1 year, pay down the generational debt that would have left their family in bondage for generations. So it is a very powerful organization. And so to be able to give a portion of our profits to that school, that is something that just gives me everlasting joy, and it makes me feel really proud about everything that we do.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think social responsibility, is an important caveat to brand differentiation. Because I think a lot of people are aware of some of the profits that are being made, and they feel that a lot of these, and that's what's not with your business, is where, Rushi is definitely the face of the business and very passionate about it. And I think having that face to the business makes it much more relatable versus maybe other brands that just are a brand but don't have a face to the business. And knowing that you're, forwarding some of these profits towards things that are important to you. And I think I see that a lot. I've even seen some brands that maybe don't have that direct alignment. They even allow you to kind of donate a certain portion, $1 or something, towards this transaction. I've even seen apps and things that connect to Shopify and saying, hey, do you want to give to this particular organization? It could be as easy as, planting trees or water, and there's all these different types of things. You have directly said, no, this is an organization because it aligns with the roots of the business and the ingredients and the lifestyle that goes along with this product. So it seems you're kind of giving back to the original roots of the product.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So another thing I noticed too, I want to get in the tactical part of the show right now because I think it's always interesting to some people. We talk about subscription as being a smart business model because you can wake up every month and know that you have X number of subscribers in the business. And I know right now, currently, Aavrani has an option to saying, here's the one and done, or for a small discount, let's get into the subscription offering. I just want to understand your mindset around the subscription part of the business, why you made that choice kind of right away, other than the financial repeatable model that comes out of it. But are there benefits for the consumer? Are there benefits for the business? I just want to get your mindset around the subscription and how it's been working for you.
Yeah, the subscription actually came from consumer demand. That was not initially part of our business back, when we first found it. We were selling products one-off, and that was great. And people would come and they would repurchase, and we have the sky-high repurchase rates, which is a big kudos to our product formulator and to our team and to our marketing team. But we actually had a bunch of demand internally from customers who would reach out and say, hey, I'd love to be able to put this on subscription. I buy this product every 3 months, but it's kind of annoying that I have to keep going to your site and doing this whole repurchase process. And so that kind of organic demand for subscription is what prompted us to start it. And that's ideal. I think a lot of companies have shifted to subscription models when it might not be the ideal situation, or they're doing it for a pure business reason. And, that's great to show subscribers, and you could show that to investors, or, whatever your reasoning is. But true consumer-driven demand is what moves us and what moves our hand in doing, in the way that we run our website and the way that we do business.
Right. Yeah, I always talk about this to the book of merchants that I had, and they just loved the fact that, number one, it was good, and you said perfectly, the consumer demand is for it because I love this product. I mean, I'm on a few subscriptions myself. I mean, I'm on a men's soap company where, every 2 months there's 4 bars of soap come, just because I don't need to think about it. But also they have a really good system in place about, hey, do you need to pause? Are you going on vacation? You can just click a button. You're not stopping. We're just pausing it. And so there's lots of great technology now. And I think it's better for the consumer to have this option, because I mean, supplements, beauty, there's a lot of great food and beverage products and beauty products that just need the subscription offering because you love the product so much. You want to make sure it's always available. And if you have too much of it, it's easy to kind of skip, and you can click a button and skip it. So it's really cool that you have that option right now.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about Amazon, because I think there's an interesting, we talked before recording about Amazon, and I think for a lot of brands, it's a necessary part of their business, because I think just organic search, I think latest stats is, 50% of all kind of e-commerce transactions, and certainly in North America, are done on Amazon. So the other half is direct to consumer at the Shopify store. And so I just want to have your mindset around, how does Amazon fit into your business strategy overall? Are you in the early days of it? Where do you see other beauty businesses? And then I just want to understand your mindset around it first.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you look historically, brands used to grow, let's talk specifically about prestige beauty brands. So $35 to $85 in their price point. They would start off in their direct-to-consumer site, and then they would have their sites set on these luxury prestige retailers, the Nordstroms, the Saxes of the world. Maybe you get into Macy's or other department stores, and that was the goal. You could grow in there. Of course, there's always that big target on the big retail players, Sephora or Ulta, depending on your price point and where your consumer is. But all of that has kind of been eaten. People have done all of that. The one last big place where there's still room for growth is Amazon. And for a while, especially with prestige beauty, Amazon was a little bit scary. It was like, do we want to do this? Is this okay for the brand? Are there dupes? Was there a duping problem? Are people selling this illegally? There were a lot of questions, but I think everyone realized we're talking about such a large market and such a big opportunity, and Amazon having such a great hold over the customer and a great purchasing platform where returns are easy, which is important for consumers, and to make purchases and put them on subscription is easy. And they're there already getting their toilet paper and their paper towels. And so the opportunity is massive, and we have seen just a great growth potential. We're in the early days, but we see Amazon as a great driver and, kind of a big third channel for us as we think about our own .com, Sephora, and Amazon.
It's very cool. I see that, just more of a side note, is it intentional on TikTok to have your link to shop at Sephora? Is this a exclusive kind of Sephora marketing play, or is there particular reasons why TikTok and your brand link is not going to your D2C site currently?
Yeah, such a great question. When it comes down to it, Sephora is an amazing partner, and they are an authority in beauty. Yeah. So when you are on those Sephora shelves or on, whether it's in person or virtually, that means something to consumers. That means this brand, which I didn't know of, has that Sephora check mark. This is approved by a buyer, a merchant, and this is legitimate. This is good even. And for us, it's great. And so that is where we want to drive people who've never heard of us to feeling comfortable at making that first purchase. And that's harder to do on a .com. But when you're in Sephora, you have that check mark. And guess what? They're going to get their Sephora points. And so, that gets them closer to, the next tier of their points. Yeah. It's an ecosystem that benefits both players. And we recognize that. And that's why we send so much traffic to Sephora.com.
Yeah, that's lovely. So I understand that concept. I understand the subscription model. I love the repeatable and the customer loyalty that comes along with all that. And I think that's great. What about the international expansion idea? Because I think of this kind of like this omni-channel presence. So we have a D2C, we're on shelf in Sephora, and I think you're in Anthropology online. And so there's quite a few places you're doing there. And so Amazon, Sephora, Anthropology, your own D2C site. What happens internationally now? Is there an opportunity, and kind of how are you dealing with that? Because I know there can be challenges with ingredients and shipping and the customer support that goes along with kind of a multi-channel experience. I just would love your mindset around that.
Yeah, I mean, we think of international in two parts. The first is our neighbors to the north in Canada and being able to ship there. It's certainly its own animal. We have Health Canada, making sure that everything is both in English and French. But that is still very much within most brands' wheelhouses and kind of being North America focused. We launched for Sephora in both US and Canada. So, to us, that was our first international expansion, and that's gone exceedingly well. We have some really strong sales out of Canada, a lot of people who love the brand there. So, we're going to continue to push from an international perspective there. Outside of North America, the opportunity remains massive from, Europe to India itself and the rest of the world. But there is still so much wood to chop in North America that we don't see ourselves turning our sights onto those places for a while. There's a big, big opportunity there, but the US market remains and the Canadian market remain also big opportunities that we've yet to fully take on. So that is our growth plan for the near term. It's keep it in North America and really penetrate those markets. And then as we get to, future years down the road, certainly international expansion is on that roadmap.
What I did also before recording is I actually wanted to double check because I'm from the north. I'm in Vancouver. And I find Canadians it's very interesting because I'd say more than 60%, probably even 70% of a lot of the brands that Canadians shop in, North American brands, are going to be American brands. And Canadians, I think generally the conversion rate is much lower for Canadians. If you actually were to look and see by IP address, you're going to find that the conversion rate is lower from Canadians buying from American brands. And the reason why that is because of shipping and or duty and tax compliance in the cart. And I think that's one thing that Shopify is doing well. That's what you guys are doing well. I think there's a Markets or Markets Pro option that's available in Shopify that really helps, become the merchant of record from a legal compliance and a cross-border kind of transfer of the product and making sure duty and taxes go to the appropriate province or country. And I see that, part of your shipping option to Canada is that you have a shipping option and there is a free shipping kind of threshold, but then you have tax and duty as option that's already kind of prepaid as part of in the cart. So it's very intentional that it's working. And I think that's really helping from an international perspective in Canada is showing duty and tax in cart, because the opposite, which I know you know this, is that I see so many disclaimers when they know through an IP lookup that this is an international transaction, or you selected Canada or wherever country you're in, and you say, hey, when this product arrives, just so you know, we're not responsible for the potential duty, tax, and brokerage that you may occur when you're getting it. Well, no wonder the conversion rate is so low, because you're scared. What's the brokerage going to be? And you just show it right in cart, so it's honest and transparent.
Yeah, I mean, we did that. That was learning from mistakes. When we first launched. When we first launched Aavrani.com, we had many Canadian customers who loved what we were doing. And we would get these emails like, hey, I had to refuse this at the door because they wanted $30 or $40 Canadian dollars at their door. And so, we quickly learned that if we don't know exactly how much it's going to be, and we're not able to put that all together and have it be really tight and a seamless experience for the consumer, it's going to be a negative experience. Yeah. And so we worked to, make that transparent, to have that all built in. And I think that's made our Canadian business really strong. And even today, we're still looking at ways to expand upon that in making it better. We're looking at 3PLs that are actually based in Canada. Right. They would be able to distribute product faster, minimize taxes and duties, and just overall improve customer experience. And that's our goal always.
What's interesting about the 3PL side, there's always been this conversation around, like, should we, since I'm already on Amazon, can I fulfill a specific country's orders, let's say Canada, can I get the products into a Canadian FBA warehouse, and can my e-commerce transactions for Canada be fulfilled by Amazon FBA? And the answer is yes. What's your thought on that?
I think there's a big opportunity there. Right now, we're looking at having it in our own warehouse,
Okay.
a 3PL that we work with directly. But
Yeah.
there are a lot of innovators in the space, and there's a lot of amazing people across the world who want to be served with a high quality. And so, that is the same for Canadians, and the same demand that's there. That's the kind of effort and intention that we're putting into creating a seamless customer experience.
Another expansion idea that I'm just thinking of off top here is the beauty box business, the subscription box. I think, Fit Fab Fun, I think, was kind of like the largest kind of original innovator in this space. There's a lot of beauty boxes and things that are out there. It's such an interesting market. Even Jillian Harris, which I think is the former kind of bachelorette or something, Canadian bachelorette doing her thing. And she has this thing called the Jilly Box. And so what's your thought on market expansion by getting involved with either fitness or beauty type boxes? And like, is this a mindset, or is this like an effort you're doing right now saying, hey, we need to kind of introduce our products to a baked in audience of people that are already subscription box people, because then they may come to us direct, which actually is what happens. So just want to understand your mindset around that.
Yeah, we've done some of these boxes. FabFitFun, Ipsy are a couple that we've worked with.
Okay.
They're amazing partners, and they have such a unique customer. This is a customer who's so deeply open to discovery that they're actually paying to discover. And
Yes.
that is cool. You
It
don't
is.
get that in most industries or elsewhere. And so for me, being able to partner with more boxes in the future is a great way to grow the brand. And, it's not a very profitable pathway,
No.
but it's certainly one that, as we're thinking about investing in growth in the future, it can be a big opportunity and something that we want to keep doing.
One other question I have, it's kind of a good pivot off that, is about just acquisition. We talked about funnel. We talked about, some of the awareness ideas that you're doing to educate the market that you even exist. But what other strategies do you do from a top of funnel marketing perspective? Like, because, right now with this kind of cookie apocalypse and all these iOS updates and unfortunate blended ROAS, this return on ad spend, sometimes it's really hard to kind of directly attribute saying, hey, this campaign equals success. And sometimes it's extra challenging, other than having third-party pixels running, to kind of this incrementality kind of concept of improving your paid ads. So what's your idea or mindset around top of funnel awareness and then moving people through a funnel, and then I get the second part of that question that I find interesting is that how do we get the second sale if they're not a subscriber yet they've done a one and done? Is there truly a marketing strategy? So awareness to a conversion, and then how do we get the second and third sale?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think there's no doubt it's certainly not 2017 anymore. It's,
No.
kind of like Dorothy waking up. We're not in Kansas anymore, a little
Nope.
bit of the feeling. But, there is so much that we can still do. I think the influencer opportunity in beauty, one of the things that we talked about is around this idea of the non-beauty influencer,
Right.
people who have followings that are deep and passionate about what they're building at any scale, from 10,000 followers to millions of followers, who aren't beauty experts or focus on beauty, but we can show them how great our products are. They talk about it in a pretty organic and natural way, and that leads to something. One of the other unique things that we do is, for every follower that we get, we actually have a real person who's DMing them. And so when you talk about, awareness down to conversion, what better way to convert someone than to actually open up a real conversation with them, with a real person? And so we have a couple of people across the US. Every follower, they send a DM. Hey, thank you so much. We'd love to understand more about your hair concerns. And we talk to them with real feedback. Oh, I have dry hair. Oh, I have hair shedding. And we're providing real insight, real feedback. And then we're providing a discount code that has a short-term expiration. And so it turns what would otherwise be a passerby follow, oh, sure, let me just hit follow, into a real moment of both education and conversion. And then, going from conversion in that first purchase to that second purchase, I was smiling if you said that, because that really comes down to having a great product. And man, that's exactly what we have.
Yeah.
It is hard to have people making a second purchase for a mediocre product. I don't mean to slam these guys because they're huge, but have you ever tried AG1 athletic greens?
I know the product and they're very, I've never, I think there's challenges it being shipped to Canada, calling it a meal replacement when it's not. So I think the labels have to change in Canada. But so short answer is no, I have not tried it.
I have been in their funnel for years. They've probably spent thousands of dollars marketing to me through ads, through YouTube, through partnerships. And finally, I cracked. Finally, I said, let's just buy one. Let's do it. All the marketing worked. And I was a prime customer. I love the idea of, becoming better, becoming more fit, having all the nutritional values. That product is terrible. It tastes bad. It tastes objectively bad. And I thought, maybe it's just me. I have a sensitive palate. My fiance tried it. The feedback across the board is this is a bad product. And now I realize why they're spending so much on marketing, because they don't have that second purchase, because people try the product and it doesn't hit. It doesn't taste great. It doesn't do what I think they're saying it does. So for Aavrani, that is an afterthought. The product is objectively great. What we say it's going to do is what it does and more. And it looks beautiful on your shelf or in your shower or on your bathroom. That means for us, the repeat purchase, that's the easy part. The hard part is getting someone to know who we are, get over that first purchase hump. But that repurchase, that's there because the products are great.
Yeah, so helpful. I think there's also even, some great technology. We can, you probably know a lot about it or maybe be implementing it now, but this whole RFM modeling, this recency, frequency, monetization strategy, and just truly understanding there's a lot of data going on inside your Shopify store. And what I find interesting is that looking at this data and analyzing this data through AI, we haven't really gotten to the AI conversation, but we're out of time for that today, but it's so interesting where you can actually look at the data and going, hey, if people buy this product, let's say it's your hero product, what's the timeline between the second purchase and what exactly are they buying? Are they buying the same product? Are they buying the same product and something else? And analyzing this data and then creating these, I call it like personalized kind of one-on-one experiences. If the customer chooses to want to be communicated with through SMS, then we can communicate them through that way. Or if it's through email, and there are ways of doing that. And I think the nice thing about this RFM modeling is that, you statistically relevant saying, hey, we believe between this window that the second purchase should happen. Why? Because we have the data to prove it, that people do make that choice and they do buy these products. And then this way you're nudging your customers along that haven't made that choice yet in that proper window and the product that is likely best for them next. And so it's very interesting what's out there.
And there's so much opportunity. We're in not even the first inning. We're in the batting practice of the baseball game of AI and data driving, those consumer predictions and all of that. So just tons of opportunity ahead.
Yeah. So before we kind of wrap up for today, if we kind of look ahead for the growth plans of the business, can you talk a little bit? I'm not asking for your public roadmap, but I'm just the whole mindset and where do you see the business evolving over the next 5 years or so? I don't want to say 10 years because I think that's just too far in the future. But even 5 years from today, where do you see the business continue to evolve?
Yeah, we've said since day one, our goal is to always build a great business. That's it. We want to continue to build a great business. That means being true to our customers, having great product and really strong execution. So over the next 5 years, we plan to do just that. We want to expand in Sephora, grow online, grow in stores. We want to expand our own .com. We want to expand our Amazon. We see so much opportunity. And, whether it be our impact for every dollar we make, we're being able to have a stronger impact with the Shanti Bhavan School, for being able to provide a great working environment for our team, and for being able to provide amazing products to people all across North America. So to us, it's just building a great business and continuing to grow. That's the roadmap. Simple, easy, and that's the plan.
Beautiful. Well, Justin, thank you so much. I always joke every time on this show, but I'm on page 2 of notes. So that shows a good episode. It's always a life of learning. It's one of the mantras I have. It's just, I just appreciate you taking time and kind of sharing. I'm excited for this opportunity, kind of where you're heading this business. And you and Rishi are just, you're really onto something. I think you guys are both leveraging your strengths in the areas that are well suited. And I just want to wish you continued success. And thanks again for recording.
Thanks so much.
All right, take care. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.